Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income with real estate. Listen and learn how 90% of the millionaires in the world use real estate to create a life that most people only dream about. A life that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here's your host, real estate investor and consultant, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're here talking about leading a higher quality of lifestyle by creating a second stream of income that meets and exceeds your wants and needs. This second stream of income allows you to sleep better at night than when things like COVID or recessions or hurricanes hit. You're taken care of. And I want to talk a little bit about the concept of doing this before a financial catastrophe. I spoke about this the other day and got some response through email of people talking about trying to get themselves motivated to do this and how to do it. And so I spoke at length with one person, and it turned out that their situation was that they need to do it for some medical reasons, but they're not doing it. In other words, they know good and well that due to some illness, I don't want to get too detailed about it, of a family member, they're going to need $200,000+ more than they bring in just to get through these treatments, and they still can't get themselves to do anything. And as I talked more and more, it was all fear-based. All of it was based on that, hey, I'm not smart enough. Some of it came down to he thought I was special, that there was something special about me. And I want to make sure that people understand that that is the farthest thing from the truth, that I am not special at all. I was a dumb 27-year-old kid with bad credit, no money, and I was able to do this. I just read and read and read, studied until I figured it out. And I guess I can't say I figured it out until I read something that explained it to me. So my point is that I want to encourage every one of you not to wait for an illness, not to wait for a catastrophe like a pay cut or a furlough or just flat out being fired. That you want to start building be wiser than I was and start building your second stream of income now. Do it now before you need it. And this comes down to, if you study Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, this falls into, I think, quadrant 4. I think it's quadrant 4. Not urgent, but important. And this is where successful people spend a massive amount of their time. Not urgent, but important. This would be exercise, eating right, getting enough sleep, and building a second stream of income. It's not urgent, but it's important. Whereas most people wait until it is urgent, and then it becomes even more difficult. You know, you think about it, you need a job to qualify for mortgages, so you're going to wait until you lose your job to start investing in real estate? Doesn't really make much sense. So my suggestion is find, we always call it your why. What is it? Why do you want this second stream of income? I promise you it's not for more money. It's what you can do with that money that you're doing it for. Just a big pile of paper fancy printed paper, that's not what you want. You want it because you believe it will give you more time with your family, or it will give you the $200,000 to be able to get the cancer treatment for your loved one, or to get out of a job that's making you miserable. You know, I talk to people all the time that are on the verge of nervous breakdowns, heart attacks, because they hate their job. And as I've told you many times, I had one guy that had actually written his goodbye note and bought a gun. He was planning on killing himself. That's how miserable he was at his job. He then bought a apartment complex, quit his job, and now he's as happy as can be because he's in control of his life. And he's not even getting rich off of 32 units. I think he's got a lot more than that now. But he wasn't rich. He probably took a pay cut, but he got away from that job that made him miserable. And he did it before a catastrophe, which in that case would have been suicide. So I urge you all to start thinking deeply about why you want this second stream of income. And then use that as leverage to get yourself to take action, whether it's with me and my team or somebody else's team, I don't care. But take action, because sooner or later, you're going to need that second stream of income. If you're 40 plus, it's sooner. Because, you know, I say it all the time, the most discriminated group in America is people over 50. Hard to get rehired if you get fired in your 50s. Very difficult. You're discriminated against, and it's almost impossible to prove. Probably costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove it. Not many people have the hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove it. So you want to now start building that second stream of income in one way or another. And we're going to talk about passive investing today. I'm going to talk about 3 different value plays. One we'll run the numbers on from top to bottom, and then the other 2 I'll just give you the end result, because the first one will explain how the value play works, the value add works. We're going to take a $5 million apartment complex, and over about a 2 to 3 year period, we're going to turn it into a $10 million complex with forced depreciation. The numbers, I'm rounding all the numbers off so they're easy to understand. We're going to talk about a $5 million purchase price, which is $4 million plus $1 million for rehab. We're going to talk about $1.2 million down. It was a little more than that, and the apartment was a little more than 5.2. So, but I'm rounding all the numbers off so it's easy to understand. And we'll talk more about this after back from the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Thanks for listening. Real estate accounts for more millionaires in America than any other investment vehicle. This second stream of income can truly change your life. More time for travel and romance, more time for family and fitness, more time for whatever you want to do with your life. To find out how to build this second stream of income, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop on real estate investing. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're talking about value plays and passive investing. And in the multifamily, this works the same for strip shopping centers. It works the same for self-storage, any commercial real estate. You can do a thing called forced appreciation. Whereas with single family, you're not going to be able to force the value of that property to go up. It is what it is. Whatever the comparable sales are for that neighborhood, that's the deal. You got a $200,000 house, you can put crown molding in it, you can put granite countertops, new floors, new paint, new everything, and when you're done, you have a $200,000 house. Not so with commercial. You can actually force the value up by increasing the cash flow, which by default increases your net operating income. And the value of these apartments is based off the net operating income and the capitalization rate. I'll explain a little bit about the capitalization rate, but it's the simplest definition of it that I've ever heard is it's the rate of return that a bank would get if they foreclosed on the property. And they don't want to. They are not in the real estate business. They want to loan money. They're in the money business. So they do not want to foreclose on it. But if they do, they want to know in advance what their rate of return is going to be. And that's your capitalization rate. The riskier the deal, the higher they're going to want as far as a capitalization rate. So this particular deal was about 200 units, and we were able to pick it up for about $4 million. Why so cheap? Because it was 30% vacant, 60 vacant units. It had about $1 million worth of rehab necessary to bring it back up to effective condition. The rents were all $25 to $75 a month below market. And what that means is if you went and looked at all the other apartment complexes in the neighborhood, this particular apartment complex's rents were $25 to $75 below comparable apartments. Why would somebody lower their rents? Think about it. If you've got a piece of crap apartment that you haven't taken care of, what's the only way to get people to move in? Lower the rents. Well, all those things combined to keep the net operating income low. In this case, the net operating income was about $400,000 a year. So what we have is a $4 million purchase price, and as I mentioned, $1 million for rehab, and about $100,000 in closing costs. So all in, $5.1 million on this deal. So what we then did is we went to the bank and said, look, we want to buy this particular property. We had a very competent syndicator in the deal, so he had a lot of credibility and had done multiple deals. So the bank said, yeah, we'll do it at 25%, 20% down and closing costs. In this case, $1.1 million. $1 million for the down payment and the closing costs. So total out of pocket, $1.1 million. This is rare, by the way. Most deals are about 30% out of pocket, or in this case, that would have been $1.5 million plus closing costs for a total of 1.6. But again, this guy had so much experience and such a relationship with the bank. Plus, they knew that this was an undervalued asset. So to them, even though I'm going to tell you they saw it as high risk, they knew that it was actually low risk because of the syndicator leading the deal. Where do we come up with the $1.1 million? I'm going to keep it simple. 11 of us put up $100,000 each. There's your passive investors. I put up $100,000 into the deal. 10 other people put $100,000 up. We're the passive investors, and we do nothing. We are passive. We don't go look at the property. We don't manage the property. We don't take phone calls about the property. Nothing. We just get a check every quarter, and then when we refinance at the end of 2-3 years, we get a big check, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So to value this property, the bank says, let's look at your NOI. As I told you, the NOI is $400,000. And they say, well, to us, it's a high-risk deal. Why do they say that? Because it's 30% vacant, needs a massive amount of rehab, and the rents are low. So to them, it's a high-risk deal. So they say, man, if we're going to do this deal, we want an 8% cap rate, which is a high cap rate. So to determine the value, they simply divide the NOI by 0.08, the cap rate. And what that does is it tells them that that property is worth $5 million. What were we paying for it? $5 million. So do you see why the bank was willing to give us the loan? Because it's worth $5 million. Make a note, though. Did we steal this property? No. We're paying full price for the property in this particular case. We didn't steal it. It's a full price property, $5 million. We then purchase it. The 11 of us and the syndicator pool our money together and go buy it. We close on it. Then we take some massive action on the property. And what is that massive action? The first thing is we start the construction on that $1 million rehab. Immediately. Tear out the old gate system and fence system, tear out the old lighting system, put in a new fence, courtesy fence around the entire perimeter, replace all the lighting, make sure it's safe, replace the asphalt, replace all the roofs, rehab those 60 units, which was the vast majority of the money, and start leasing them up. Another action step, we start evicting anybody who's not paying. So we're leasing up the 60 vacant units at the new full price rent. We're evicting people who don't pay, or drug dealers or prostitutes or whatever the situation may be. We get rid of all the bad people. We replace them with good people. What does this do to the net operating income? It increases it. We took those 60 vacant units, and leased them all up. Do you see how the NOI, the cash flow, everything is going up? So we now have a new NOI after 2.5 years. This doesn't happen overnight. Now, I've done this in as little as 18 months, but I've also had deals where it took 4 years to do it. But what happens is we go back to the bank with our new NOI at the end of 2.5 years, and we say, look, we have a new NOI. The new NOI is $600,000 a year, not $400,000. And then we argue with them, and we say, we've done all the rehab. We've kicked out all the bad people. We've leased the 60 vacant units. This is no longer a high-risk deal. So we want a lower cap rate. And they agree. They say, look, we'll give you a 6 cap rate. Remember before it was an 8% cap rate. Say, we'll give you a 6 cap rate and we'll refinance it. The new value after 2.5 years is $600,000 divided by 0.06, or, here's the new value, $10 million. $10 million. Over a 2.5 year period, we doubled the value of the property. The bank says, okay, let's refinance. We will give you, remember, we still owe $4 million on it, and they're going to give us $8 million, 80%. That means we could have pulled out what? $4 million. Think about that. If we put 1.1 million in and we pull out 3 years, 2.5, 3 years later, 4 million, what rate of return is that? It's like a 400% rate of return. Pretty close. Pretty close to a 400% rate of return. How are your stocks doing? How are your mutual funds doing? How are your REITs doing? Are you getting a 400% rate of return? Now, we didn't do that. I want to say we only pulled out about 2 million. Why did we not pull out the full 4 million? Because we wanted the thing to continue to cash flow. If we'd have pulled out the full 4 million, I think we would have just about broken even. There's a lot more to it. I don't want to get too far into that. Just understand that we pulled out about 2 million, or about a 200% rate of return. But again, think about it. How are your stocks doing? How's your bank account doing? Getting a 200% rate of return on your bank account? Probably not. The question that is coming up is, what about the cash flow during those 3 years? And I'll address that when we come back from the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. You can call me at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Are you tired of losing money in every down market? Did you know that real estate makes money in both the up and down markets? In fact, we make more money in the down market. Hi, this is Steve Davis, host of the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Yes, we are praying for a down market, and you should know why. To find out why, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're talking about value plays today and passive investing, and what you can expect when you do passive investing with our syndicators, whether it's a strip shopping center or a self-storage or a multifamily apartment. This is what you can expect. And the next question that always comes up is, what about the cash flow during those 3 years? Well, I've seen all types of cash flow during those 3 years that you're stabilizing the property. I've seen nothing for a year. I've seen nothing for 18 months. Then all of a sudden we start making 6%, 10%, 15%. Then I've seen where we made from day one 3 or 4%. Then at the end of the year, the first year, it's like 6 or 7%. Then the second year or third year, it jumps up to 10%. So you do see some cash flow during those 3 years, depending on the deal. If it's a 2-year, you may see no cash flow the whole 2 years, and then boom, get an 85 or 100% rate of return, which translates to like a 42 or 50% rate of return. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that. You know, when I talk about making a 20% rate of return, 35% rate of return, I'm talking about the cash flow and the money from the refinance. It's not going to be 20% cash flow. It's not going to be 35% cash flow. It's a combination of the two. So make sure that's clear. If it's not, email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. So let's say you did 5 of these, and you have $500,000, $100,000 in each one. 3 years later, one of them refinances, and you get $100,000. We'll say 100% rate of return on that particular deal. Then the next year, another one refinances. You get $100,000 that year. Then the next year, the other one refinances, and so on and so on. And then you divide that by the total years held. So let's say it takes 7 years for all 5 of them to refinance. You've gotten $500,000 back. Well, let's do that real quick. I got a calculator here. $500,000 back divided by 7 years. Nope, I hit the wrong button. 5,500,000 divided by 7. That's $71,000 a year divided by the $500,000 you have in it. About a 14% rate of return. So when you're looking to replace, say, $100,000 a year, you're going to need about $600,000, $700,000 invested to do that. But I want you to think of the opposite. The average person lives 20 years in retirement. To make $100,000 a year, what do you have to save up? $2 million. Well, at a 20% rate of return, you only have to save up $500,000. 20% of $500,000 is $100,000 a year. For most people, it's a lot easier to save up $500,000 than it is to save up $2 million. So it's really a powerful tool. It is. And please, if you don't understand something that I'm saying or it sounds crazy to you, tell me. Don't just sit there going, oh, that can't work, that won't work for me, or whatever. Email me. Let's get this question answered so you truly understand it and can take action on it. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. So let's look at a couple others. I'll just go over one in Pasadena very quickly. If you had put $250,000 into this deal, at the end of 3 years, you're not going to believe this, but this is how it worked out. You would have cashed a check for $1 million, a 400% rate of return. And I can't give you the name of the woman who put the deal together, but I will be able to in about 3 months. Then we look at another one where a gentleman is pulling $5 million out on a refinance, and that's going to be over 100% rate of return. What can you expect in today's marketplace? Hard to say because of COVID, but I think it's going to probably be 85 to 150% rate of return is going to be pretty standard over the next few months and maybe even the next couple of years. Then, this is a whole show, so I'm just saying this. I'm not going to explain it. I think there's going to be 2 dips. Initially, it's going to be right after COVID is released and we all get back to work and we all get back into business. There's going to be a dip in the value of real estate, and there's going to be tremendous deals for us to pick up. Then things will stabilize, but we're due for another recession. So I think we're going to get hit. They've printed all this money. I think there's going to be some inflation, and I think we're going to have a bit of a recession. So I think there's going to be a double dip. And I'm going to have a lady on the radio show explain this, but I don't see any way of avoiding it. And what that's going to mean to you and I is that as passive investors, which is all I do, we're going to make tremendous rates of return over the next 5 to 6 years. Tremendous. Now, is that an excuse for you to put it off? No. You want to take advantage of the full 5 to 6 years. Does that make sense? Don't say, oh, I've got 5 to 6 years to do this. No. Do it now. Get yourself involved in a group, if not us, somebody's group, where you can get access to syndicators and find deals like this for you and your family. It's life-changing. When you start making even 20% a year, just think about it. How many of you have $500,000 and are sweating it? You're going, man, $500,000 won't last me 20 years in retirement. No, it won't. That'd be about 25 grand a year, 2 grand a month. But what if you invested that $500,000 in such a way that it made you a 20% rate of return, or $100,000 a year? Can you live off $100,000 a year in retirement? Most people can. Now that number's going to need to go up over time. I get that because of inflation. But I think right now, just about everybody can lead a fairly high quality of lifestyle with 100 grand a year. So that's the difference between trying to save your way to retirement and building a second stream of income. And the nice thing is that $100,000 a year comes in every year for the rest of your life. Not just 10 years, not just 20 years, doesn't matter. What if you goof up and are healthy and live 30 years in retirement? It doesn't matter. The money comes in every year. Whether you live 10 years or 50 years, does not matter. Okay, just got an email question. Okay. Wow. This is really interesting. I'm just going to use the name James. Emailed me. And we are new to investing in real estate, and we are looking for ways to invest. But they've already rolled over a 401k into a solo K, which is pure genius, James. I don't know how you even knew to do that, but that is exactly what you should do. It's exactly what our members are doing. He goes, we want to get involved in a group to get access to syndicators. How do we do that? And, well, the first thing you would want to do is come to our free introductory course, James. To do that, go to getrealwealth.com. I'm actually teaching one tonight from 6:30 to 8:30. You can watch it online, or you can come up to the office. We have a very safe environment at the office, plenty of room for social distancing. Everybody wears a mask. We have plenty of hand sanitizer. So either way, I would watch that. Go register for that at getrealwealth.com. Getrealwealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, it will say free course. Click that button, and you can make a reservation. But yeah, I was actually going to talk about the solo K here in just a minute. We got to go to break, but when we come back from the break, I'll talk about what people are doing that have big 401ks at their company that they can't get to. They can't use that money. Do you know you can give your 401k to your wife and get it, or spouse, and get it away from your company? They can't do anything about it. It's a law in Texas as a homestead state. It changes from a 401k to a solo K, and then you can use that money to buy real estate without tax or penalty. We'll talk about that when we come back from the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. If you've got a question for me, you can call me at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Do you dream of a better life for you and your family? Do you want more time with your family? Would you like to travel more? Would you like to be less dependent on a job for your income? The solution is simple. Build a second stream of income. We can show you how. We are offering a free 2-hour introductory workshop on how to use real estate to build a second stream of income for you and your family. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis, and we're talking now about using your 401k to do passive investing. It is much more effective than using an IRA, self-directed, and the reason is because of the unrelated business income tax that hits the IRA that doesn't hit the 401 trust or the solo K, as the previous listener referred to it. So what people are doing is they're taking their IRAs and rolling it over into a solo K, or again, I prefer the term 401 trust, and then taking that money and investing it in apartments without tax or penalty. Now, those of you that have IRAs already in passive investments, and you're going, how can I avoid the UBIT, the unrelated business income tax? You can roll it over into a 401 trust while it's already in a passive investment in most cases. So let me say that again. If you're a passive investor and you've got money in an IRA in a passive investment, it is possible in most cases to roll that over into a 401 trust to avoid the UBIT tax when you do sell the property. The UBIT tax on $1 million, I think, is close to $250,000. You can eliminate that by rolling your IRA over to that 401 trust. And if you got questions on that, email me. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. So that's what we're doing. You know, it doesn't take long to explain it. You just need to know that you're able to do it. So those of you that are suffering, going, man, I don't have any money except in a 401k, or I don't have any money except in an IRA, it's okay. People use those things to invest without tax or penalty in these passive investments all the time. It's just called a self-directed IRA. I prefer the self-directed 401 trust because, again, it avoids the UBIT tax, the unrelated business income tax. And again, any questions on that, you can call me at 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738, or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay, let's go to, well, this is like 6 different questions. This is a question from a anonymous listener who wants to buy their own 42-unit apartment complex. They've run 10 rent houses. They're selling 5 of them to buy the 42-unit apartment complex. The only concern I have, that's an excellent move, with one caveat, I guess. Do you know how to run apartments? They do not run like single family. One of the biggest mistakes that people can make is they say, well, I'm running 20 rent houses. I'm going to go buy a 20-unit apartment complex. If I can run 20 rent houses, it should be easy as pie to run a 20-unit apartment complex. Wrong. You're going to get slaughtered. They are two completely different animals, two completely different business models. So before you do that, if you're a member of a club already, you need to upgrade into their multifamily program and take the multifamily courses. If you're not a member of a group yet, join a group. You do not want to take on a 42-unit apartment complex without educating yourself in what it takes to run a 42-unit. If you're not a member of a group, check us out. Go to getrealwealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, we have a free sample class. Click that. That's getrealwealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, free workshop. And check out what we do. Okay, here's another question. No, I don't know when they're going to start evictions back up. Sorry about that. I don't think anybody knows that answer. And I think they're trying to do some really dumb stuff in Washington. Of course, that's their modus operandi. So don't really know when they're going to allow us to start doing evictions again. Okay, let's see, what's this last paragraph? Just kind words about the show. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for those kind words. Okay, phone lines are open at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or you're welcome to email me just like these people have been. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. I'm only laughing because somebody accidentally sent me a question about investing in stocks. I do not invest in the stock market. I do not gamble. I'm not a gambler, so the stock market does not appeal to me. And remember that the stock market is not investing. It is speculation. You're buying low to sell high. That is speculation. So be cautious of that. We're investors. We invest, we get cash flow, we get refinance money, we make money all the time. All the time. A little bit different than speculation. Okay, again, the email is open, asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com, or call me at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Okay, got one more email here. Quick claim property to an LLC. Quit claim deed into an LLC. The only way you're going to be able to do that is if the property is paid in full, but you don't want your real estate paid in full. That's dead equity. So I'm going to email you and ask a couple of questions about this, but remember this rule: never pay a piece of real estate off. If you do have a piece of real estate paid off, refinance it, take the proceeds, and go buy more real estate. You know, why would you care if you're paying 4% interest, or in today's market 3% interest on your home or your rent property when you're making 20% interest on your investments? Doesn't make any sense. Don't leave that dead equity in there. And yes, now that I've read the third paragraph, this guy has dead equity. You don't want to put that in an LLC. You want to refinance that thing, pull the money out, and go buy. It looks like you can pull out about $140,000, $150,000, and go buy yourself, what would that be, 7 or 8 more rent houses. Don't let that money just sit there. Go buy 7 or 8 more rent houses. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Or my email is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay, and last email I think is solar on rental. Yeah, this doesn't make sense because your tenant pays the excuse me, sorry. Your tenant pays the power bill, so there's no advantage to you to switching to solar. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. I would not upgrade my system to solar, and judging from the way you've written this email, you're paying the utilities. Wrong, wrong, wrong. You want your tenants paying the utilities. And this applies to almost all multifamily and certainly to all single family. So, no, I don't think solar is a good idea because the tenant pays the power bill. Okay, this has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. If you want to attend my free workshop tonight, go to GetRealWealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, it says free course. Click that for reservations. Thanks for listening.
This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.